I think it does validate you a lot. But I found the good stuff started to come in almost once I stopped running for the endorsements and kind of being like, right, what am I doing and what am I bringing to the table? So I found that once I kind of shifted from that, endorsements actually came in a lot easier, and from companies that I never would have thought I'd ever sign up with.
Welcome into episode 1 of a new series I'm calling Drummers I Know That Do Cool Stuff. This series is all about chatting to some of my friends who do what I would consider stuff outside of drumming. Whether that's building businesses, whether that's podcasts, whether that is building a social media following, all of those things besides physically playing the drums. To kick things off, I'm talking with AJ Rousell, who is an educator, a drummer, a session musician, and a camp organizer, along with so many other things. We talk about endorsements, we talk about starting your camps, we talk about generally just getting stuff done because it doesn't exist. It's a really cool chat. I hope you enjoy it. See you next week. I knew of you because of social media. All of these humans that I'm talking to, I know through social media.
Yeah, we are social media friends, aren't we?
It's basically just totally. That's it. And then you meet and hopefully you can make nice coffee or whatever. But I knew you because I just kept seeing your name with endorsements, with books, with things, and I was like, oh, this. You see those things like endorsements, books. That's got a gravitas to it. And now that I know you, I know that you're quite young. I didn't think, you're not playing with a big artist yet. You're not a massive session musician yet. You're not like, whatever other avenue that would theoretically normally give you those endorsements.
Yeah.
But you had them, you seeked them out, you got them, you earned them. Was that a plan straight away? Like, did you leave BIM and you were like, right, I need to do something else, or I need to have other things going on?
Yeah, kind of. The endorsement one's funny because I think when I was at BIM, I was like desperate to be endorsed, but for all the wrong reasons. I felt that endorsement meant success, and if you're endorsed, then you're naturally successful. But in my head, because I was endorsed and I was on a website, then I'm like, right, I'm immediately a level above everyone else now straight away.
And I honestly do think that it carries a weight. It's a validation of you. It kind of, the endorsement itself, I don't think matters terribly too much at a certain level. Like, obviously, if you're like getting endorsed by a new company every 6 months, like you're changing stick companies every 6 months and you're jumping around, like it just looks bad. But if you're endorsed by, the by doesn't actually matter. I think if you're endorsed, it's like, this person must be someone.
Because it definitely got attention.
Yeah,
sure.
Totally.
Like classmates were very much like, oh, you've actually signed on with someone. And then a few were like, you're at uni, I don't believe that. And then you show them a website and you're on it. And so it was really interesting. The drummers I was friends with kind of saw through it a bit and was like, this is a company we've never heard of. Like, you're one of 6 artists and the other 5 we've never heard of. But all the non-drummers you don't know about drum companies anyway. We're just like, he's already endorsed. Like, great. So the endorsement thing was a goal because, like you said, it's a validation and it kind of says, I've got my stuff going on. And there's these companies that like what I'm doing, so we're going to support. And it does I think it does validate you a lot. But I found the good stuff started to come in almost once I stopped running for the endorsements and kind of being like, right, what am I doing and what am I bringing to the table? So I found that once I kind of shifted from that, endorsements actually came in a lot easier, and from companies that I never would have thought I'd ever sign up with before I hit 30,
So what was that shift you did, or what were you doing before, and what did you decide to do afterwards?
So the kind of switch was, I maybe like 22 years old, I think I was that guy who was emailing like any company, just being like, just have me, here's what I'm doing. And I found that like it's so easy to really big up very small things you're doing and make them sound very, so it's like, I've got like a full UK tour coming up and it's sold out, and it's like, so I never said sold out, but you could say that, but you're selling out a venue that seats 10 people, but if you say sold out, it suddenly sounds great. I think I had it the wrong way around, where I thought if I'm endorsed, then my work will pick up, and it needs to be that way around. Once I flipped that and was like, right, actually for the next few years, let's just focus on me and what I'm doing and think, right, how much stuff can I add to me as a brand, essentially. I don't like calling it that, but that is, you're the product, aren't you? And you're trying to kind of sell it.
Totally.
Once I thought, right, how much weight can I add to what I'm doing? I don't want to be emailing companies trying to fluff it up. I want to be able to offer good stuff and then fluff up a little bit.
I would say probably the biggest thing you've done, which is the camp, right?
Yes.
So I did the camp virtually this year, which we'll talk about virtually as well, which is badass. Like that's the kind of like awesome thing I love about what you do, is that you're like, okay, I cannot do this in person. It's not going to work in person. Let's do something else. Let's figure it out. Let's not just, cry in the corner and like sit behind the drums going, oh my God, it didn't work. It's just like, right, let's find another solution. So why do a camp?
So I'd like to say it was like, I saw a need and it was a thing where I knew drummers would love it. And there was that to a degree. So there was part of it was there's nothing in the Southwest like that ever. So every clinic and camp I ever had to go to, I always had to go to London or like Cardiff or Birmingham. For some reason in Bristol, there was just nothing really going on. But secondly, if I'm honest, the main thing that started it was I've loved Emmanuel Caplet's playing for years. And I saw she did a camp in, I think it was Spain or France, one of them. And I remember looking at the teaser video and was like, oh, if she ever came to the UK, I'd be all over that. It'd be great. Like, I think her playing's absolutely killer. Then obviously check websites and I'm like, okay, that's probably not going to happen for a while. And this tends to be where any idea I get for something always comes from this kind of starting point, which is if I want it to happen, then surely other people do. If no one else is doing it, well, why would I wait? Why could I be the person that jumps in the gap? Which is terrifying because you have the thought and then you talk yourself out of it straight away. And I was like, I'm not running a drum camp where I'm bringing over a Canadian drummer on the first one. And I was like, it's just, but then kind of sat down and thought, right, am I not doing this out of fear of failing, or is it because logistically it doesn't work? So I sat down and worked out the logistics and was like, actually, this could work. And it's just grown from there. And if I'm honest, I'm staggered how much it's grown and how much of a reputation it's got in only 3 years.
With the whole nonsense that is this year, you made this year virtual. And I did it. I did it from here. It was cool. It worked really well. You had the camp planned for this year, and then it was like, we can't do that. Yeah. So did you panic a little bit? Were you like, am I just going to not do it? What was your decision to be like, what was your thought process going from, we can't do this, to now I'm going to do something effectively unique? Talk me through that kind of realization of not doing it or not being able to do what you originally planned to now, right, let's make something else.
So firstly, there was kind of not disappointment, that's the wrong word, because that sounds like I don't like the lineup that happened, but it was a thing of, I think it would have been a really big event, so to kind of suddenly not be able to do it, it was like, okay, so do we just not do it in general, or do we think of a way around it? And I remember looking at, so those are the 3 posters on my door, and I remember like they're up in my room as well, and seeing like the first 2 years and kind of being like, oh, it'd be a real shame to like have like 2018, 19 gap, 21, 22, 23. So I was like, okay, so all my lessons are now online. So I know that online education works. Drumeo and Mike's Lessons and Drum Channel have been doing online stuff for years, so it's obviously not totally brand new.
Yeah.
Can we just remodel this slightly to maybe do something totally virtually and do it all completely online, everyone doing it from their own homes? So yeah, that was kind of the idea, and it was like, okay, is anyone else doing this? No. So I think it was, as far as I'm aware, it's the first full-length multi-tutored camp to ever be virtual. So to kind of, I think, do the first one, I was really proud of it, because I think it was a good example of just not letting this year ruin everything and being like, okay, it's different, but was it still good? I think it was. The feedback's been really good. But it seemed to go well. Like, it seemed to be a roaring success, which was great, and it means we didn't lose a year. I kind of feel like 2020 it'll be the year people will remember as the camp didn't just buckle and not do anything. It's like we still did something. Just
to wrap it up, man, let's talk about social media, because I think that's a really important thing to talk about, and I'm almost weirdly fascinated with how other people do it more than their own drumming. Instagram, Facebook. So what are they for you? Like, what do they do for you?
So I kind of view it as like, so they're definitely not sales platforms, and I think that's a big thing I see a lot of people doing, where they're just every post is just, here's me and here's my stuff, you need to buy it. For me, it's like it's to make people aware of what I'm doing, but also kind of bring them in a bit and see the kind of humanness behind it and stuff. So the Instagram story thing I really like, and some people that watch them might totally disagree.
Like, how much time do you put into it? to make your posts, like not your stories, because obviously that's just super instant, but like your posts?
If I'm honest, not that much. And I think it's something I've kind of wrestled with for a bit of like, should I be putting more effort into it? Okay, I could spend hours trying to get a 30-second clip looking good, but a lot of the time it's like you're scrolling through Instagram. It's a scrolling feed.
With everything muted as well. Like it's muted,
so I'm like, actually, if someone just scrolls onto my video, watches it for 10 seconds, but they're like, oh, actually, his playing sounds killer, they're not going to sit there and analyze the audio quality in the video necessarily. I mean, some might. So I changed it a while ago where I had an Audio Technica mic that plugged straight into my phone, and I started using that a lot more, so I could shove it like just above the kit, and it just made everything sound a bit nicer.
I'll be your rap, promise we don't need no brake lights. We can travel the world, so just say yes. Choose to do
It can really get to you. You put effort in, or you do something, or you put up a post and you're like, I think this is pretty cool, I like that, it's cool, and then someone rips it straight. That can like really can cause some meltdowns, you know what I mean? Like you could like be like, oh god, should I even bother doing this anymore? Have you ever experienced that? And
like a little bit. There was a point where I was really over analyzing like everything I put up, and it kind of hit that point where I was like, okay, who am I actually trying to impress? And I think there was a point where like if I'm promoting clinics or masterclasses, and I'm like, okay, the playing in that post has to be like on point, because I'm trying to impress drummers, and I want drummers to go, yes, I'll come to his clinic, he obviously knows what he's doing. When it comes to playing tracks or to kind of pushing the session stuff, I'm like, well, I'm trying to impress producers, and I'm trying to impress artists. So actually, if it's just me like solid as a rock, just like playing a simple groove, and a drummer comments and says like, well, this is really boring, it's a bit easy to go like, well, I'm not interested in you. Like you've stumbled on this thing that's not meant for you. I want the producer commenting going, sick timing, great feel, let's chat about a session. So I guess knowing who I'm trying to attract means you can sift through the negative comments easier.